All right, welcome back. So now for this video, let's go into how to publish our newly created Power BI report. In order to proceed, let's go ahead and click the Publish button up top here. When you do so, it's first going to ask you to save the report, so go ahead and do so. We'll hit Save. Let me give that a minute. All right, it'll ask where I want that to go. Or what to name this, we'll say, I'll just call this Power BI demo. You can call it the domain explorations report, anything that gives you clue as what this is for. Choose the location. So this will save a local copy on that machine, so you can choose whatever location you like. I'm going to hit save. And then it's going to ask you to choose the workspace for which you want to publish this. By default, with Power BI, you're always given a My Workspace, which will be kind of your personal workspace to work out of in Power BI. This is a perfectly acceptable option, so if you do not have any other workspaces, go ahead and choose My Workspace. I did create a demo workspace right here, so I'm going to send mine there. But with your workspace highlighted, go ahead and hit Select. All right, and this will start publishing it now to the Power BI surface. If we hang here for a minute, we should get it all done. All right, there we go. It's all done. We've got the success. And we'll see here that you'll have an open and Power BI link available to you to go view this report in the Power BI service. So please go ahead and click along and follow that link accordingly. So this will launch the Power BI service, this is where you will actually view your report once it's published and done. Previously, we were using the Power BI desktop, and the Power BI desktop is where you were manipulating the report, editing the queries, cleaning all the data up, visualizing it, and this is really the kind of the editor to prepare the report. But once you publish it, the Power BI service online is where you actually go to view the report and manipulate it and see it. If you see here, I can still use my filters. As I mentioned, with this visual right here, if I click on this visual on the filters pane, I have the ability as a viewer of this report to modify this because we didn't lock it down. So this is where that kind of comes into play. Someone can come in here and kind of change these filters accordingly. But again, this is where you and your coworkers can come in and see a Power BI report which you've created and published. But let's talk a little bit about how your coworkers can come in and see the report. By default, if you're just getting started with Power BI and if you publish this to your My Workspace workspace, that report is only visible to you and cannot be shared to your colleagues. You can only share the link to your colleagues, and they can only come in and view this if they have a Power BI Pro license assigned to them in Azure Active Directory. And many MSPs I've interacted with, they find that they actually have a lot of licenses just kind of sitting on the shelf that they can assign. So you may find that's your case. If not, Microsoft's pretty good about allowing a 30-day trial for a user to try Power BI Pro. So there's some routes you can go to see what that looks like. But do note that in order to share this report, which you'd click up here and hit this share, and then you can do it accordingly. In order for that viewer to see the report, they do have to have a Power BI Pro license. Now, there's another route you can go to as well if you're just kind of maybe proving this out a bit and want to see how it works, is if you want to keep going the free version, is you still have your Power BI report published here in your workspace that you can view. And something cool that you can do is you could maybe you're going to interact with this. Maybe you're creating a report that's a QBR or it's an external facing report for that customer. Something you could do to save you time is once you build this report and everything's ready to go, is you could filter down to that customer accordingly, and then you could hit this export button up here, and you can export these to different sources, one including a PDF. I could hit this. We'll hit export. Let that prepare. And now you can have a file that you could attach to whatever email or whatever you're sending out to them of that PDF of their report. So it's a pretty cool method for kind of getting started with this completely free if you want to kind of try it out and see how it goes. All right, I'm going to remove this filter. All right, that file's ready. Let me go ahead and just save that real quick on my desktop, and we'll open it up. There we go. And there's that PDF. So when we publish this, this data is static, we'll call it. This data is only as fresh as when this was last published from Power BI. Let me kind of show you what I mean there. I'm going to go back to Power BI Desktop. And I'm going to go ahead and just bring in another piece of data here real quick. Just something I want to just to prove this out to you. You don't necessarily need to follow along right now. Let me go to the registrar. Let's bring in, I'll bring in this value right here. And I'm just going to bring in this table real quick so you could see it. Let me just kind of give it a little bit of color here so it really stands out. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and hit publish and hit save. And I'm going to send it back up to my same workspace, and I'm going to go. So see right here, it's going to say, do you want to replace, because it found, the conflict. So yep, I'm going to replace. All right, this is publishing. Now, if we go here, remember, this is the current state. If I refresh this page, this is still the current state of this report because I have not pushed a new report up yet. Once this finishes, though, okay, it's done. Let's hit refresh. And there we go. Now we see those changes take effect. So what we want to do is we don't want to have to push a new version the only time you really want to push a new version up to Power BI Online is when you go make some changes or modifications. You edit it, you rename, some titles, you add some new data. And at that point, when you go make a significant change to the report in Power BI Desktop, you'll then go publish and push up the new version to Power BI Desktop. Power BI Online and replace it. However, as I said, this data right now is going to be stale until it refreshes again, until it makes another attempt to pull the data. And there's another step we need to follow in order for that to happen. Let me just show this off a little bit. If you click on your My Workspace over here, mine's called Demo Workspace. Yours should probably is called My Workspace, but go ahead and click over there. You should see two things. You should see the report, and then the semantic model, which this is kind of the really underlying data set right here that the report is being generated off of. These were the two things that were published up to the service. Now watch what happens if I attempt to refresh the data. Right away I get this little red pop-up here and it says there was an error with your data set. And basically it was unable to refresh the data. So by default, Power BI is not able to refresh this data after you publish it. What we need to do is we need to use something called a Power BI on-premise data gateway to make this refresh possible. So that once you publish this, you can schedule it to refresh daily or from whatever schedule that you like. So in order to do that, I want to take a break here. We're going to move into the next video, which I'm going to show you is how to schedule the refresh of your data using the Power BI Data Gateway. All right, thank you. See you there.